Today I'd like to discuss something very important that I would like to name plantation psychosis. It's a psychosis of inherited ignorance that has been passed on because, of course, everything has a catalyst, has an origin. So in order to understand why everybody is going through these anxieties and sufferings from all of these different things that the government has put in our path, we have to get an understanding of where it came from. Initially, we had a barter system based on season cycles that were proactive, running parallel to the laws of nature. But we have to understand that once Ptolemy and the Roman Empire and everything else that came with that conquered, they rewrote history with their calendars, with their systems. And everything that they controlled was done for control reasons. Indoctrination was definitely placed upon the entire land. And they became human parasites to the world. And we were the host. It took a council to decide everything we did. They and their council decided how we viewed the stars, what we called the stars, what we named the stars. They decided if the earth was flat. They decided if the earth was a globe. Galileo, Ptolemy, and their councils. Just like they decide today what we eat with the genetic modified organisms that are in our food. It's all modified, all due to a decision. And a lot of times throughout history, iconoclasm, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, a lot of that took place where there was already civilizations, but the empire in control at that time built over the civilization. And also with their habits, once the empire came and took over with their laws instead of nature, their habits, eating habits, hygiene habits, everything. It became the norm. And this is what we practice. Pre-colonial and colonial, slavery, schedules, everything. The days of the week was all decided by council. The religion, the Council of Nicaea. And their gods eventually became our gods. Their Apollo of the Greek and Roman gods became Apollyon of Revelation 9:11, the keeper of the abyss. The connection is because Apollo, his symbolism was of the locust. And then, of course, Apollyon in the abyss, he's the lord of the locust with the hair like women. So you have to look at the subtle connections because we inherit their indoctrination and their ignorance through their foods, mind, body, and spirit, through their eating habits. Example with slavery, when they received all of the filthy leftover of the so-called food that they ate in those days, like the intestines, the feet of the pig, the ears of the pig, even the hog head cheese and everything. These became delicatessens or things that people considered soul food. But it was only the scraps from the animals, you know. And then when you kill an animal incorrectly, the blood is poisoned and contaminated. So it's passed on generation after generation. Rather, Willie Lynch, all the indoctrination is the same thing. And the council decided the status quo of the population. So we inherited this ignorance. In the military, they call it post-traumatic stress syndrome, or when a woman suffers from battered wife syndrome, but it never applied to the population. The biggest victims who inherit the evil from the wickedness of these so-called rulers. So throughout time, all of these things have taken place, and all of the habits that we have now that are destroying us are for marketable reasons. For example, with the Rockefellers, when they took out the cleanses, the body cleanses, and now the parasites are the reasons why they market off of us. They live off of our sicknesses because we're marketable based on the sicknesses. So, you know, they always want to say I'm only doing this for entertainment purposes, but I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to inform you and allow you to know of the psychosis that exists within all of us. And now we've developed a Stockholm syndrome because we're being victimized. Genetically modified organisms in our food all day, playing with us, playing in our faces. And we have to realize that we can't trust anything, especially when we understand the catalyst, the origin of our self-destruction, dealing with the world parasites, the machine. And we have to realize that we are nothing but either a slave or a food source. And it's inherited throughout history, unless we understand the catalyst and understand the origin of it. So I guess you could all say that the population, we all need a cleanse. We need to cleanse ourselves of all these parasites, everything that we've ever been given, offered, or purchased. Because remember, when there was nothing but a barter system, gold and silver and all of those things were only resources. Only until Rome came were all these things taken for financial purposes and marketing values to enslave the people. Ancient Mystery School, Saint Germain.